Hey everybody, it's old Roger D on Channel Downstar with another of the movies in the 31 days of B-movie horror, our Halloween watch. Why am I doing that? The Halloween watch for October. We've had, the other day, we had giant bugs. And we had aliens attacking the Earth, and it seems like, and now we're doing horror. And it seems like the B-movie history, excuse me, has tapped into every little genre. There's even B-movie love stories that are really, really bad. So, am I zoomed out? Let me just check. Yeah, I'm all zoomed out. I'm just holding the camera a little different. Yesterday I thought I had a big shadow, and I do have a shadow on my face, but I noticed on the video it looked alright, so I'm going to keep it this way. I don't know, I may switch later. But anyway, so tonight's feature is a pseudo-sequel. It is a sequel. It's a sequel to the classic film Frankenstein. How many Frankenstein movies were there? Man, there were all the basic Universals, and then there were all these spin-offs, and Andy Warhol, and all these other ones. Well, Frankenstein's Daughter is what we're watching tonight. I believe it's 1959. I'll check the title to see if that's the right date. I have no idea who this stars. I could tell you, but, you know, I don't want to spend time on that unless they're well known. There I go with the crab. The antennaes again. Shoot the antennaes! Shoot the antennaes! This movie concerns a girl, a teenage girl. They look a little older. You know, I was talking to someone, wow, I talked about this a few times with a few friends, that back in the early days, in the 50s and 60s, and 30s and 40s, there were people that were very young, but they had very old faces. You know, like Humphrey Bogart had a very weathered and old face, and he wasn't that old. Excuse me, I have a phlegmy in there that's just hanging on. No, I can't get swallowed. So, and they might have, like they tend to do, cast older people like they do now, you know, like the Scream films. They don't look like they're in high school. They look like they're in college. Who look older than their actual age. And there's a girl who lives with her uncle, and she is the uncle. She's a teenager, and she has teenage friends, and she is so pure. The relationship with her boyfriend is so pure and nonchalant and good. They both say they love each other, but yeah, when he takes her out to see a movie and they come back, they don't even kiss when he drops her off. You know, they're that. I'm gonna tie my hand down. They're that good. But she has a friend who is kind of a floozy. But both of them are pretty va 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 vow, wow wow wow. What is it? Va 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 voom. That's the thing I'm trying to do. My loins, my loins. That's gonna be the theme of all this month. Anyway, so she lives with her uncle, who is experimenting on a serum of some sort of medicine serum that will regenerate skin, that will cure any kind of diseased skin. And he's got a helper, a real bastard of a guy from the very beginning, named Oliver. And he's just a cocky bastard. And it turns out, what we find out is he is a descendant, a son of the original Frankenstein. And he's doing experiments on the side in the same lab, which is in the basement of the house. And the gardener is basically the Igor and is helping him, bringing in body parts, or trying to. He wants a head. I need a head. I need a brain. I need a head. And that's basically what's going on in the story. The thing is, this Oliver Frank, he doesn't go by Frankenstein, he goes by Oliver Frank.
Anybody see you?
I swear no one, Mr. Frankenstein.
The name is Frank.
Frankenstein is a very honorable name. I was proud to serve your father.
Of course it is. But for the time being, I prefer that nobody knows who I am.
Is also experimenting on his own with a serum that he's testing out on the uncle's daughter, or the uncle's niece. And she is basically getting a Mickey from him every night. And she's transforming into this creature because of the effects of the medicine, which isn't quite working yet. And each time it's progressively worse. You saw in the opening credits what she looked like before the title card came up. And then you see her later in the movie with these big bug eyes and more worse makeup. And the police are onto it because there are phone calls and reports about this female monster that's roaming the neighborhood. The beautiful girl in the bathing suit with the monster head, because none of her other body parts change. It's just the face. And it's pretty damn creepy. Eventually, Oliver Frank is asked out by her friend, a teenager, for a date.
Well, I see you found Trudy, all right.
Do we have to talk about her?
No, not if you have something better to talk about.
I have something better.
You also have a name?
Susie Lawler.
How about an address?
2720 West Portland.
You be home around 8 o'clock tonight?
No. At 8 o'clock, I'll be waiting for you at the corner of Portland and Henry Streets.
Date?
Date.
And like I said, I mean, you see them on their date where they're parked, and they're just going at it.
For crying out loud. Will you stop it?
Little.
Who do you think I am?
Look, you agreed to park here with me.
Where's my shoe?
You're deliberately taunting me.
That's too bad.
I ought to kill you.
Why don't you help me look for my shoe instead?
And then he gets a little out of hand, and she's kind of a tease. I was going to say something, but I'll leave that one word out. But she's kind of a tease. And then he suddenly gets the realization, I could use her brain. Well, he he does something to her because he brings her back, and we never see a scene with the gardener, the Igor character, who had worked with the original, or knew the original Dr. Frankenstein when he was a little kid. Now he's an older guy. But we never see him get ahead. Not get ahead like get ahead in life, but get the head for Dr. Frank. And so my thought is the head that they put on the body that they've been working on is the teenage girl's head, and the way he gets her is he runs her over in the car, when they're on that date. But when you see Frankenstein's daughter in all her glory with this weird shiny suit that's kind of cool because it has like springy electric metal springs from the shoulders down to the wrists, and the head is bandaged up like a surgery, but the face is so deformed it doesn't look like her at all. It looks like some very big guy, like a wrestler or something, and the face is really deformed. And of course, while the doctor, who's trying to get this medicine that's going to help his medicine, he's stealing it. He comes home one day, and you think he's shot. You think he's hurt. He's calling out, Oliver, Oliver. Oh, and his daughter, his niece, he's calling out. And then they all come running, and he's like, I'm okay. I just had some problems with my heart. I'm okay. I'm going to go take a walk. But at that time, while Dr. Frank is tending to him, the actual Frankenstein's daughter gets out of the house, goes roaming the streets, kills a few people, and then they're all like kind of in the house talking and everything, and there's this knock at the door. Dunk, 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 dunk. And the Dr. Frank is a little like up. He's like, who's that? Who's that? Because he thinks cops are coming because of the turmoil that the daughter of Frankenstein's daughter is doing. And she goes, oh, that's just Johnny, my boyfriend. And she opens the door, and there's the Frankenstein's daughter, just like, "Arr, arr, arr, arr."
That's Johnny.
Johnny?
Johnny Bruder, a friend of mine.
Huh.
Quick! Alto! She's back!
And Igor, or the gardener, is there, and he leads him, and she faints, and it's such a funny scene because it's like he broke himself out, he broke the door down, crashed the window to get out of the house, and then when he comes back, he's like, knock, 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 knock. What? So anyway, things kind of just get out of hand. Old Dr. Frank ends up having the monster kill off the gardener, the Igor character, and then all hell breaks loose, and the cops find out, and the daughter and the boyfriend find out, and there's a battle, and without giving really anything away, fire enters into the final, just like with the original Frankenstein. I kind of liked it. It's not a great movie by any chance. It's not a great movie, but it is it's a fun little time waster. It's a fun little B movie. Like I said, you had the two va 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 voo women. I You can't see. I gotta go here. Va 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 voom. That's why I usually do it this way, so I could. Va 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 voom. It's better. I can talk with my hands and tenny. Yeah. But Trudy, the daughter or the niece, is played by Whoa, we fell over there. Is played by Sandra Knight, who is again extremely attractive. This is the 50s, late 50s, and I'm realizing I'm having a thing for that. Johnny is played by John Ashley, who really hasn't done too much. He's kind of, the thing about filming me here is I'm looking right at the light, so my eyes are real squinty. Anyway, he hasn't really done too much other than a few beach party movies, a net full of Jell-O. Frankie Avalon Down. Anyway, Avalon Down. Anyway, yeah, he hasn't done so much. And Sandra Knight really hasn't done too much either. The girlfriend that turns into Frankenstein's daughter was a Playmate of the Month in 1957, I do believe. And her character name is Susie, and I believe her name was Susan Todd. Sally Todd. Sally Todd. Look her up, because boy, yeah. Dr. Oliver Frankenstein. He hasn't done much. He's played by Donald Murphy. Although I kind of recognized him. I looked him up on IMDb, and I kind of recognized. They said he was in an episode of Get Smart, and I kind of recognize him from Get Smart. He has this very unique thing he does with his eyes, where he can have them wide, and he's like, I'm going to show you the monster. And then he could be very... He has this cool thing with his eyes. But anyway, I just got to say, I really like the way the creature looks. The one thing I'll have to say, this was a whole different thing. It wasn't like a Paul Blaisdell, or it wasn't anything like a John Chambers of the the Universal horror movies. But there is something about the 50s B-movie monsters that I mentioned this before with It Came from Outer Space, where even though it's not the greatest monster, it's a very unique style, a very unique look. And the thing I'm noticing, I know already, is that there are some great character monster designs as it goes through. Frankenstein's daughter with the wrapped up head and the black suit with the silver stripes. I'm guessing they're silver, but it's goofy because he's like with big rubber gloves. I'm gonna kill. But you have the conquered the world turnip creature, the upside down ice cream cone. You have the Day the World Ended thing with all the little hands growing out of his shoulders. You have the Fiend Without a Face, which is a brain and spinal cord. You have, if you understand what I'm kind of saying, there's some really, really good monster designs. The she creature, Paul Blaisdell. The she, not the she monster. Although I'd love to buy a little glowy statue of her. You know that one. But the she creature, which is like blocky, and the saucer men, and there's some really great designs. I'd love to have, the big thing is Funko Pops right now, and although I don't like them, because they're just all the same. They're a big square rounded head in the body, and it's like, oh, yeah. But back in the 80s, McFarlane, who I still think is making character designs. They did the whole Spawn series with the giant wings and stuff. And then they did a Movie Maniacs series where you had Freddy and Jason and Pinhead and McCready from The Thing and Norman Bates and all these great, beautifully designed, sculptured figures. I would love, and I know there are a few. I was going to say I would love to have a bunch of 50s monster movie characters, figures that are so beautifully designed. And like I said, I've been to a few conventions, and I know that there are some out there, but they're not perfect. They're not, they're either resin model kits or or they're just kind of like cheap plastic things. But I would love for like a company like McFarlane to do a line like that, and the Colossus of New York, the giant robot, and like I said, Saucermen and Conquered the World, and War of the Colossal Beast, the giant bald guy with the half skull face. It would be great to have a picture, a figure of him, the 50-foot woman. So many great ones. The ants from Them. So many great things. Even the Deadly Mantis, which we watched the other day. But anyway, that's a dream thing, and that'll never happen, and life goes on. All we can do is live them through the movies, the B movies that are out there. One other thing I want to say, just ending this, is when I was a kid, this was another one of those movies that was on like the old sci-fi cinema. And I saw it lots of times, and it always really kind of freaked me out because it was very gory. It was one of the first, next to Mole People is another one. I would love to have a figure of Mole People. And I know there is one out there, but it's not perfect. It ain't a McFarlane. I love McFarlane stuff. The detail was so great. He did a Jason. I still have it. I have it somewhere. And with the hockey mask. And if you actually, the hockey mask was glued on his face. But if you wiggled it around and pried the hockey mask off his face, the face was deformed like it was in Jason Takes Manhattan. No, it wasn't Manhattan. It was one of the other ones. But it was all deformed, and it was like, they even did the detail under the mask, even though you're not supposed to take the mask off. Anyway, old go Roger. This in like Horror of Party Beach and Flesh Eaters were the movies that I saw very, very young. And Night of the Living Dead, although I saw that more in my teen years. These movies I saw when I was in my single digits, under 10, on television. And they weren't cut. And they were like the goriest movies I had ever seen. Frankenstein's daughter, there's a scene after he runs the girl over, and they bring her body in. And I noticed it tonight. Where she's covered up, but her foot is kind of, or her feet, her legs are hanging out, and it's all deformed and weird. And when you saw that as a kid, you're like, what happened there? And then you see the face, which is her head, and it's like it's all frickin' deformed, and you don't know what she's, how did she get that way? And then at the end, no spoilers, when Dr. Frank gets the acid in his face and his face is melting, that's pretty horrifying. But there was another scene in here where and then the guy the gardener brings a hand in at the very beginning, and it's just a severed hand and it's all bloody. But there's another scene in here with some workers in a factory where Frankenstein's daughter comes up and he crushes the guy between these doors and he just spews out blood. And as an impressionable little kid, wow, it was nightmare stuff. It was nightmare fodder. It really, really was. So anyway, wrapping it up. Let's wrap it up and tie it in a little bow. Frankenstein's Daughter. It was great to watch it again. It has some really bad moments, but it's not that bad of a movie. Just like I mentioned in Deadly Mantis, I was very surprised at how cool a monster movie that was. It kind of ranked very even with Beast from 20,000 Fathoms, the Harryhausen film, as a giant monster movie. It was very smart. It took itself seriously, and it was just really cool. This, even though, like I said, it has some really campy stuff and musical numbers and some shoddy acting, it's not a bad movie. It really isn't, and it's a very unique, different movie, being Frankenstein's daughter. Shoot the antennae, but looking like the creature looks nothing female at all. Anyway, I think I'm done. Yeah, I'm pretty much done with this one. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Tomorrow, I don't know what I'm going to watch, but I will be watching it, and I will be reviewing it, and it's Old Roger D on Channel Downstar with the 31 Days of B-Movie Horror, my Halloween watch of 2016. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you in the next video.